In today's video, we're taking a look at a slightly more unique offering in the world of radio control aircraft. Let's get into it. What's up everybody, my name's Devin from Naughty Boy RC, and in today's video we're looking at something a little bit different that likes to fly in the air and on water and on land. It's the Tribus 250 EP from Rage RC, and this thing is different to say the least. This foam-based flyer comes ready to fly. All you need to add is 3 AAA batteries to the remote. So let's get it unboxed and take a closer look at everything this super rad little foam thing has to offer. Taking this thing out of the box, you can just see how small and agile this thing looks, and it almost looks like a boat with airplane motors, and that's because it kind of is. It's named Tribus after the Latin word for 3, because it's an airplane that can take off from both land and water. And in today's video, we're gonna test that. We're gonna try it on a little tiny pond, see if it'll take off and see just how agile it is. We're also gonna try launching it by hand, a road, and some grass. So not only is this thing super compact in size, but it is extremely light also at just 54 grams without the battery. Yeah, less than 2 ounces for the entire aircraft. That is insanely light. With that being said, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit hard to handle in the wind. Speaking of battery, you are going to get a 800 mile 1S LiPo, and it's going to go right in the middle front section of the aircraft. You got to take a screw out to get to the compartment, and it'll slide right in there, no problem. Other electronics on the Tribus 250 include a 2-gram digital waterproof servo in order to control the elevator. To charge that LiPo, they are going to throw in a USB style charger, and they're also going to have some spare props and screwdriver in the box. Moving on from the servo, in the front of the aircraft, you are going to get dual 8623 coreless brushless motors in order to power and actually turn this thing. Now the main power board on this unit is a 3-in-1. It's going to allow you to control your aircraft with a 2.4 gigahertz style radio, which is fairly small. The controls feel okay. Now the other 2 functions for that 3-in-1 unit are of course the ESC in order to control the power on this thing, as well as a 6-axis gyro like Rage RC has in their drones and helicopters to help with stability and hopefully make this thing a little bit easier to fly and more beginner friendly. Speaking of beginner friendliness, due to how light this thing is and the propellers and motors actually being faced at the top of the aircraft, if you mess up on a water takeoff and accidentally flip this thing over, it is retrievable since the props are then going to act just like a boat propeller, and although the controls will be reversed, you should be able to safely get this thing back to shore. So that's pretty much all I can show you guys here in the studio. Let's get out and have some fun with the Tribus 250 EP from Rage RC. Okay, so we're going to try a ground takeoff first. In order to pair them, you need to turn on the Tribus first. You heard the little servo click. Once your boat's on, then you go ahead and turn your radio. And it looks like you go full down, up, down. Okay, so you got your propellers on. Whew. Alright. Okay. Alright, 2 pretty bad landings. Both of them didn't do any damage to this though, which I'm very surprised, so we'll just keep on trying.
Where'd it go? Yeah. I don't even get it on camera. There it goes.
Alright, so obviously this landing wasn't as gentle, and we did manage to snap a propeller off of there. It looks like maybe just clipped off, not too bad. The rest of the aircraft looks fine. Just one propeller. Let's see if we find it here. If not, we'll throw on one of the spares that comes in the kit. All good. So we just finished up testing here on the Tribus 250 EP by Rage RC, and I gotta say that flying experience was quite different to anything I've ever flown previously. Overall, it was a lot of fun and definitely a unique experience, but there are a couple things I wish it could do better. And the first being this little servo in the back. Under normal power, you get very little articulation in that rear spoiler. I wish you got the full use of the servo so the plane could be a little bit more articulate in the air. The second being the propellers and the motors. I'm not sure if it was a combination of both or one or the other, but when you would try to turn this thing in the air, it just took for absolutely ever in order to be able to turn this. It could be user error, as I am a novice pilot when it comes to the plane stuff, but it just seemed like it wasn't very nimble. I did hit the rear bumper on the controller to bump it into advanced mode, and that did make it a little more articulate, a little more easy to fly, but still wish there was a little bit more I could get out of it. Now, as a boat on the water, if you want to just drive this thing around, you're going to need quite a bit, as it's still there. It is not very nimble also. That being said, if you want to launch from water by hand, the road, the grass, whatever, as long as it's semi-flat and you're able to slide, this thing is going to take off absolutely no problem. And that leads me to the next part. This thing is super freaking tough. We crashed this multiple times, as you've seen in the video, and other than losing one propeller and this little chip in the foam right there, the rest of this plane came out absolutely unscathed, which I am super shocked about because we crashed hard a number of times. As far as range goes, there's absolutely zero problem there. At one point, I'm pretty confident we had this thing 150, maybe 200 feet in the air and several hundred yards away. I thought for sure it's gone, it's done, we might as well wrap up filming for the day, and managed to bring it back. And I think that's where it not being nimble comes into play, because when you're that high and far away, it's easy to make mistakes, correct yourself, find the plane, and bring it home safely. That being said, you do need quite a bit of room in order to fly this thing if you don't want to end up in a tree or on someone's house. So if you like what you saw today and you're interested in picking up the Tribus 250 EP from Rage RC, there's going to be a link down in the description. We're going to have a link to our YouTube shop, and you could always go directly to our website, www.naughtyboyrc.com. And remember, keep it naughty.